let's understand the relation between inverse hyperbolic and inverse circular functions. So let's begin with y is equal to hyperbolic sine of x. Okay, so what we want to do is take the inverse of this, so that becomes x is equal to hyperbolic sine inverse of y. We want to come out with an equivalent function, inverse function with respect to sine. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Let's multiply both sides by I. So we get I hyperbolic sine of x. Okay, now this can be written as sine ix. I hyperbolic sine of x is equal to sine of ix. Remember, this is iy equal to this. So now let's reverse this. Let's get the sine inverse of iy is equal to ix, or we can say ix is equal to sine inverse of iy. Now let's take this I to the other side. So x becomes equal to, multiplied by I, this becomes I square. So these two cancel out and a minus sign comes up. So we end up with minus I sine inverse of Iy, right? So which means we have now got a equivalence. Here x is equal to this and x is equal to this. So that means hyperbolic sine inverse of y is equal to minus I sine inverse of Iy. Now remember, it's very easy to get confused. Here it is hyperbolic sine inverse of y is equal to this. But suppose I want it in terms of sine inverse of Iy is equal to what? So naturally, in which case hyperbolic sine inverse of y by minus I, which means again if I do I by I get this becomes I square is minus 1 times minus is plus 1. So that means it becomes I's hyperbolic sine inverse of, okay. So this and this are equivalent. So make sure that you understand the difference. Okay. Now let's do the second one. Okay. So let's look at y is equal to cos, that is hyperbolic cos x. Now this can be written as x is equal to hyperbolic cos inverse of y. Okay. Now here let's multiply both sides by I. So we get Iy is equal to I cos x. Now this cos x can be written as cos of ix. Now remember, I just followed the procedure that I needed to follow in sine, hyperbolic sine. Here I continue with it. So here actually I don't require this I and I. So I'll remove it. Now I can write Ix as cos inverse of y, and I can take this I to the other side. So cos inverse of y by I, and by multiplying with numerator and denominator with I, we get minus I cos inverse of y. Okay, which means this is equal to x and this is equal to x. So which means they are both equal to each other. So hyperbolic cos inverse of y is equal to minus I cos inverse of y. Okay. Now let's look at the third one. Third one is y is equal to hyperbolic tan of x, which means we can write this as x is equal to hyperbolic tan inverse of y. Okay. Now, let's multiply both sides by I. We get Iy is equal to I hyperbolic tan of x. Now, I tan hyperbolic x is equal to tan of Ix. Okay, which means we can write this as Ix is equal to tan inverse of Iy, or x is equal to tan inverse of Iy by I, which means if we rationalize it, we get minus I tan inverse of y. Iy. Again, this and this, they are equal to x. So which means they are equal to each other. So hyperbolic tan inverse of y is equal to minus I tan inverse of Iy. Okay, that was hyperbolic tan. Okay, let's do the fourth one. Okay, y is equal to cosec hyperbolic of x, which implies we can write it as x is equal to hyperbolic cosec inverse of y. Okay, now let's multiply both sides by I. So Iy is equal to I cosec h of x. Again, you have to remember the identity. Cosec Iy is equal to minus I cosec hyperbolic of y. Okay, so which means we can do the substitution here. I as it is times minus I, we can't do it directly, we have to take it here, minus I times minus I by times I by I gives us I cosec I x. Okay, now I times I gives us I square minus 1, it becomes, so cosec Ix is equal to Iy, which means we can reverse it and say Ix is equal to minus cosec inverse of Iy. Okay, now which means x is equal to minus cosec inverse of Iy divided by I. Okay, again rationalizing it, we get in the bottom minus 1, so minus minus cancels, I is left out, so I cosec inverse of Iy, that is x. And here above we saw x is equal to cosec hyperbolic inverse of y. Here it is this, so we can write cosec hyperbolic inverse of y is equal to I cosec inverse of Iy. That is cosec. Now let's look at sec. So fifth one, y is equal to hyperbolic sec of x, which can be written as x is equal to hyperbolic sec inverse of y. Again multiplying both sides by I, actually not required, as you will see. So y is equal to hyperbolic sec x. Now sec x, hyperbolic sec x can be written as sec Ix, since sec Ix is equal to hyperbolic sec x. Now this is y. That means we can write Ix is equal to sec inverse of y. That means x is equal to sec inverse of y by I, which becomes minus I sec inverse of y. So therefore this and this says that hyperbolic sec inverse of y is equal to minus I sec inverse of y. So that is inverse hyperbolic sec and inverse sec relationship. Okay, now let's look at the last one, that is hyperbolic cot. So sixth one, y is equal to cot h of x, which implies x is equal to cot h inverse of y. Again multiply I to both sides, we get iy equal to I cot h of x. Okay, now uh, if we remember, cot h of x can be written as I cot of ix, which means we don't really require this I, because this I itself we can take it to the other side. Yes. Let's bring that I to this side. We get y by I, which can be written as minus iy is equal to cot ix, which implies that ix is equal to cot inverse of iy minus, which is equal to minus cot inverse of iy. Now on the left hand side we have an I, we need to get rid of that. So x is equal to minus cot inverse of iy by I, and let's rationalize it. We get minus 1 below and above minus I. Minus into minus plus, so we end up with I cot inverse of iy. Now remember, this is equal to x, and above also we had something equal to x, that is hyperbolic cot inverse of y. So cot hyperbolic inverse of y is equal to I cot inverse of iy. So these are the relations. These itself you can manipulate in different ways, right? You can bring this I to this side, rationalize it to get cot inverse of iy is equal to what in terms of hyperbolic cot, that way. Okay, so that's it. Bye.